What is good, family? Ice Age Beats here in the studio. Today we're talking about mixing, how to mix your beat. And honestly, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I know it's something you probably requested, so let's get to it. Let's tap into this master course or master class that we're going to be doing today. This is a two-part series. So part one is this week. Part two will be next week, and I'll explain all of that in just a second. Let's get to it. What is good, family? Like I said, this is the mixing masterclass. This is how to mix a beat from start to finish. This is part one. We're going to talk about a couple things that we need to get to set ourselves up for success. This is probably one of the main parts of honestly, setting up your mix. Honestly, this applies to a lot of. This is my philosophy in general. Just having a good foundation. Half of the stuff that we're going to be doing, or half the stuff that we do in the studio, I've said this before, is 75% like setup. You know what I mean? It's like over half of it is not even in the DAW, right? We have to get set up, we have to get right, and we have to, build a great, strong foundation before we tap in and start creating, mixing, you name it, all that good stuff, right? Of course, before we get started, go ahead and download the Simple Mix template. This is a template that I created in FL Studio for just mixing. Honestly, you should just go ahead and just download this, and I'll show you exactly how to save it and all that good stuff in your DAW. But this is a great, just simple template you can use when you start making music. And whenever you start making beats, use this template, and it's going to give you kind of a framework for, kind of setting you up to have a good, clean mix. Of course, all this stuff in this template, all the plugins I'm using, they're all stock because I didn't want to use third-party plugins. But of course, you can use third-party plugins if you want, and I'll go into depth later on in the next video talking about that. Okay, so this, like I said, is broken into two parts. This first part, we're going to talk about the setup. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the template that you should have already downloaded by now. You should have paused it and just click the link and downloaded it. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then the next video, we're actually going to get in there, tap into our DAW, and mix. And I know you're probably like, I'm ready to mix now, let's get it. But I need to set the, the tone, and kind of, we need to create this foundation like I talked about before. We need to create this foundation so that we can honestly succeed, right? Without a good foundation, you can't build a house, right? Same concept. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let me talk to you about a few things, dive into the template, and then next week we'll tap in and start mixing. So let's go ahead and tap in. I've got 3 things to talk about, and then the template at the end. So I guess it's technically 4 things, but let's dive in. Let's talk. The first thing I want to talk about today is equipment, having the right equipment. Before we even dive into equipment, and honestly, before we continue on this video, I really want to talk about one thing. I really want you to focus on is to start where you are. So don't feel like you have to buy expensive equipment, buy the expensive, audio interface, buy all this expensive stuff to get a good mix. Yes, it will help you if you get the right things eventually later down the line, right? You want to upgrade your interface or upgrade your speakers. That's going to help you significantly. And I'm going to talk about a few different pieces of equipment that I would suggest and go from there. Don't feel overwhelmed. It's a process, right? It's just like learning a skill, right? It's a process. It takes time. Maybe you don't have the money right now. Maybe you want to, save your money or spend it elsewhere right now, right? Until you need it, that's when I would buy it, right? I wouldn't just buy it just because I'm telling you to buy something, or somebody online is telling you to buy this or buy that. So let's talk about equipment. First thing I would say is the speakers. I would recommend getting the Yamahas. I have the Yamahas HS7s. The HS8s are a little bit too big for my room, so the HS7s fit perfectly. That would be my recommendation if you want to get into having a cleaner mix. The Yamahas are the way to go. Like I said before, if you can't afford those right now, stick with what you have. But the Yamahas are really good. I know the Atoms are great as well. I was looking into those. So Atom Audio, those two are probably one of the best speakers that are, budget-friendly speakers that I would recommend, right? So if you want to upgrade, if you're looking to upgrade or you want to start saving your money, look into Yamaha, look into Atom Audio. They're great speakers. I'm telling you, you're going to get the best sound quality for the budget, right? You're not spending $10,000, right? It's not that much money, right? So that would be my suggestion for speakers. The next thing I want to talk about is your interface. So honestly, the 2 biggest things is the speakers and interface. That's really it. The next thing is your interface. You have to have a decent interface. I will say the budget-friendly, bare minimum is the Scarlett. That's it. That's the bare minimum. I'm looking to upgrade to potentially some other. I'm eyeballing a couple of different interfaces like the Apollo and stuff like that because I know it's gonna give me a better sound. I'm looking at it. I'm doing some research. I haven't yet pulled the trigger and decided to pull, jump on something quite yet. So right now, what I have is a Focusrite. That would be my bare minimum. That would be my suggestion. Of course, like I said, if you have what you have and you can't afford to get something else, it's cool. Don't worry about it. But I would look into getting the Focusrite, and then I would, possibly look into something on a higher end like the Apollo or even the what's the other one? There's another one. There's a couple other ones. I'll do some more research on my end, but the Apollo is my recommendation. That's what I'm eyeballing right now. If I'm being real with you, if you can afford it, if you can save some money aside, put some money aside to get this interface, I'm telling you, you're gonna get great results from having a great interface, right? Because the interface is converting your audio to digital and digital to audio. It's a converter, right? So if you have a good converter, high quality converter, you're gonna get better conversions, therefore getting better audio out of your speakers, right? So you can mix it better. Simple as that. So when it comes to mixing, when it comes to equipment, just a summary, gotta have great, speakers, studio monitors, and you gotta have a good interface. All right, don't cheap out. Like if you have the money, do the research. Like I said, Atom Audio, Yamaha, Apollo, great interfaces, great speakers, studio monitors. Those would be my suggestions. Trying to keep it simple here. All right. And just a quick side note, if you're not looking to mix in speakers or studio monitors, or maybe you can't, maybe you're in an apartment or something like that, I would look into the Bear Dynamics, which I'm looking to potentially get. I usually do my mixes on speakers, but I'm looking to maybe get these Bear Dynamic DT770. So check those out. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description. I never said that actually, but I'll leave a link in the description for the stuff that I'm talking about as well. I almost forgot about saying that. So, but yeah, I would look into the Bear Dynamic DT770. I did some research on them. I've heard really great things about them, and I'm looking at potentially, maybe making a cop and getting those. They seem like some really good quality mixing headphones, right? So if you need mixing headphones, that's what I would suggest for that as well. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is space. Let me go ahead and explain, kind of break down what I'm saying or what I'm trying to explain when I say space. Okay, so your space. You gotta have a great space. It's gotta look really nice. You gotta spend a lot of money on, just accessories and different things like that. It's gonna help your mix significantly. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. All right, but that's not what I mean. I'm just kidding. What I'm talking about is your acoustics in your room, your space. Acoustics in your space, right? So I probably should just say acoustics instead of space, but it sounds cooler. So acoustics is important. As you can tell, I have some cool panels that I built, and you probably haven't shown you, but I'm sure you've seen older videos. I have acoustic panels all through my room. This is a shared bedroom. Well, I'm sharing the room with myself. This is my bed right over here on the left-hand side. But either way, I have acoustic panels put up on the wall, directly behind the speakers, as well as, in that direction of the speakers that that the sound's kind of coming out, right? It's very important because you want to get an accurate sound. It's just like the equipment. You want to get good sound out of the equipment. You want to get good sound out of your room, right? So even if you have good equipment and you're not acoustically treating your room, you're going to run into some issues. You're going to have a lot of, it's not going to be accurate. It's just not going to be accurate. It's just not, right? So this is great. Like, it's just very simple set. All it takes is a little bit of research, a little bit of work, right? So I built these panels myself. It takes a couple hours. Tap in, lock in, and I'm telling you, you're going to get a better sound out of your speakers, right? You're going to get a better sound in your studio, right? So setting up your room for success, or setting up your, your room with these acoustic treated, panels and things of that nature is going to help you significantly with your mixes, with what you're actually hearing, so you can make a better judgment, right? So, of course, if you don't have the finances to get the panels, which honestly I don't think they were that much, I'll leave a link in the description for the stuff that I used in, down in the description so you can check it out. It's not that expensive, maybe $100, maybe. But if you really have to, finesse it, just start putting some blankets up, maybe some pillows. Do what you got to do to try to, dampen the room so it's not echoey and reverby. That's not even a word, but so there's not a lot of reverb going on in the room, and that way you can accurately hear what's going on. It's a start. You can save some money, start saving some money, and start looking into, tackling some, panels, or buying them yourself. You could just buy them, honestly, from a company. They're kind of pricey. That's why I built them. I just couldn't afford to buy them straight out from a company. So I ended up just building them. It was a lot cheaper, and I had a lot more panels, right? So that is probably one of the most important things when it comes to your space is the acoustic treatment, making sure things are right. And you want to make sure that you're, like I said, the acoustic panels are behind the speakers and throughout the room, so you get a better sound out of your speakers, or more accurate sound out of your speakers, so you can get a better mix, okay? The last thing I want to talk about is your monitor placement. Now, this was something that I didn't really care about when I first started making music. I didn't care. I just had my speakers on the desk. They was wherever they wanted to be. They was up in the sky. They was over here. They was too far out to the left and the right. It didn't make a difference, right? This is important when you're mixing, right? Your placement, your speaker placement is so important when mixing, right? So getting your speakers off the desk, get some little tiny, lift joints. Like I said, I'll leave this, like I've been saying all day, or this whole video. I'll leave stuff all in the description, equipment, whatever I'm using, put that in the description. But get your speakers off the desk. Like it's not helpful. For me, I didn't care at the time. So I know a lot of people were like, oh man, you got your speakers on the desk, what are you doing? I didn't care, right? I really didn't care. But as I got into mixing, getting a cleaner sound, I knew I had to get my speakers off of the desk. So definitely make that happen. Also, placement of your speakers. If you basically want them right here where your ears are at, almost in a triangle. That's what you want, right? You want you want it to be even, almost like a triangle. Boom, 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 like that. Left ear, right ear should be the same distance. Shouldn't be too far. Shouldn't be up in the sky. Shouldn't be down too low, right? The tweeter and the bass need to be kind of in this range. If the bass is up here, or the tweeters, or the bass is down here, and the tweeters you're not gonna get an accurate sound. Make sure that your ears are lined up with the speaker, basically the middle of the speaker, and it's a triangle. It's even. Don't overthink it though. Just make it even. Make it look good, and start there. Try to find that sweet spot so you can hear on the left and right equally and make better decisions, right? That's the whole point, right? We want accuracy, right? So now we're ready. That's it. Like, that's all the things we need to do. I talked about 3 things: equipment, your space or your acoustic treatment, and your placement or your monitors. We're straight. Like, we're ready to mix. Without those 3 things, it's gonna be a lot harder to mix. Like, you're not gonna get the mix that you wanna hear. You're just not, right? So those 3 things are the most important thing. Now let's dive in. Let's talk about the template real quick, and I'll just walk through a little bit of it and explain how to get it in FL Studio and all that good stuff. Save it, and then next week we're gonna tap in, go hard, and mix a beat from start to finish. And I'm gonna break down some techniques and some tricks while we're in our DAW. So very simple. The mixing template is it looks like this. It's very, very simple. Let me first show you how the template, how you can access the template. Very easy. So you have the template downloaded, saved somewhere. You can just save it anywhere. For me, I have my templates saved in a template folder. But yeah. So all you have to do, very easy. After you download this template, it's gonna be a FLP file, right? It's gonna look like this. This is actually what it is right here. SIHB's mixed template basic. That's it. Right? So it's gonna look like that. You can save it in your desktop, save it in documents. It doesn't make a difference. I would definitely save it somewhere where you can access it, just in case you need it, right? And I'll explain why in a second. So what you want to do is just go to your PC, right, and go to your program file. Not 86, just regular program file, right? Right, and then go to image line. Boom. Go to FL Studio 20 or whatever FL Studio version you're in. Go to data, I believe. Yep, templates. Boom. And of course, you're gonna have all these templates. These are already provided from ImageLine for just when you buy or download FL Studio, right? It's already in there, and you just drag in the template. Just drag it right on in. I just drag it right here. I don't make a folder. I just drag it right on in. Boom. That's it. Once you do that, you can do File, Open. I'm sorry, File, New from Template, and it should be down at the bottom like that. Boom. And you can just hit, whatever this is, open it up, and it's going to be here. Now, the cool thing about this is saving it in the templates folder is going to allow you to create projects and save them as such, right? If you open up the FLP that you download, the download, it's going to open this up, but it's going to be, that is the project, right? You don't want to mess with that, right? So put it in the templates folder, long story short. That way it's a template, and whenever you start making beats, you can save, and it'll create basically a project individual project with whatever you got going on, and you can basically open up another project with the template again, and it's not gonna have the same stuff on it. It's not gonna be one project. And I hope that makes sense. It probably sounds confusing, but basically just drag and join the templates folder and you're good. Okay, so we are good. Let me break down this template real quick, just briefly. I'm gonna go into depth next week with this and really dive in and show you exactly what is going on here in the template. But let me just give you a gist, a basic, just a basic overview of the template. So we have our master channel, of course. We have a simple fruity balancer and a soft clipper, and that's gonna allow us to keep a good master, a simple master. We're not doing all this other stuff with these plugins and all that crap. We're not doing that. Boom, very simple, right? Then what we have here is, well, you see the blue, all these blue are melodies, all the green are drums, and they're all routed to a bus, and the buses are right here: drum bus, melody bus, right? So all of our drums, when we start making adding kicks, adding hi-hats, we're gonna layer them in from 12 on, right? So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever, however long we have, however many we have, right? And we're gonna route, they're gonna automatically be routed to this bus, right? So this bus controls all of the sounds in here. Boom, it has control over all the sounds. All of the drums, right? So if you adjust this volume here, all the drums will drop. This is gonna allow you to easily make adjustments, simply make adjustments with all the drums or all the melodies, right? So, of course you can, mess with the individual drum too, within the bus, right? But the bus right here is going to allow you to just take the overall volume of all the drums and drop them down. Same thing with the melodies, right? All the blue are melodies. They're gonna go they're gonna get routed right to this melody bus right here, and you can simply just adjust them right here. We also have some compression applied to both of these, and that's gonna help glue the sounds together. We'll talk about that next week. And then we have the 808 bassline and /bassline, whatever you choose. If you want a bassline or 808 or both in the track, this is not on a bus. It's on its own sound and or own layer. It's not bussed or routed to any bus. And I just wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want to throw it on a bus. I've noticed that I'm just leaving it on its own track and adding its own compression and things like that. It helps to keep. It just keeps it clean. It tends to work well with the stuff I'm using or the stuff I'm mixing. So that's what I decided to go with. And this is probably the only thing that has some stuff on it already. We have a fast distortion, which is stock. You can use Sasha's fattener, which I'm going to use, and I'll show you that next week. And then we have an EQ, simple low pass, or it's a high pass. It's cutting out the lows or the highs, and it's a simple just EQ sweep kind of deal, right? And we'll talk more about this next week. How we can adjust. I didn't want to add too much to the mixing template because I want it to be very simple. I think mixing can be overcomplicated. There can be all these plugins, all these things added to your mix that's not really helping it, especially if you don't know what it does, and it's just really just messing up your mix, right? So if you have good sounds like we talk about all the time on this channel, you have great resources like we talk about all the time on this channel, you don't have to worry about all these, having all these plugins and all these crazy things to add on to your sounds to make them sound professional. You just don't need it. Now, I will say, the more you know, the more you want to get into adding more things, that add certain, type of sauce or type of feel. I'm not saying limit yourself and just don't do anything. What I'm saying is having a great foundation of basic, simple mix, knowing what needs to be done, and then adding on top of that. That's the philosophy that I have, right? So this is the mixer template. Go ahead and download it and go ahead and start messing around with it. That's why I wanted to give it to you now. I want you to go ahead, start messing around with it, adding it to your, start using it to make some stuff. And just start tapping in, right? And you can customize it too. Add some things, add some presets, some plugins that you're gonna like, and you can save that as your new mixer template. It's all up to you. That's why I wanted to give it to you. Go ahead and start messing around with it. And like I said, next week we're gonna tap in, we're gonna go crazy, and we're gonna mix a beat, and it's gonna be exciting. So hope you enjoyed this video breaking down the mix. I think this video, or I know this video right here alone is going to help you to elevate your mixes and take you to the next level so you can start cooking up, mixing crazy beats that sound amazing in all speakers and all systems. And, it's really impactful for those that listen, yeah, this is fire, right? That's what I want for you. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, go ahead and get that mixer template. I'll see you next week. Peace.